Good evening. Thanks for joining us at Awaz News. I'm Kubrali and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada.
Male rushed to the hospital after daylight stabbing near Little Italy. 6 people injured in 8-vehicle collision involving school bus on Highway 403 ramp in Oakville. Toronto Police Board approves proposed $48 million funding increase despite criticism. OPP investigating the death of a toddler in Gravenhurst. Bulletin lifts mask mandate for city employees. TTC Board approves budget that includes fare increase as riders raise concerns about affordability safety. Driver seriously injured in head-on crash with streetcar in downtown Toronto.
Those were the headlines, and now let's jump through the details.
A male is being rushed to hospital via emergency run after stabbing in the Toronto's West End. Police say the initial reports suggest that the victim was stabbed in a laneway near Ossington Avenue and Harbord Street at around noon. So far, no information has been released about possible suspects. Police are urging anyone with information to contact investigators. 6 people have been taken to hospital following a serious multi-vehicle crash involving a school bus and a vacuum truck on Highway 403 in Oakville. The collision happened on the Highway 403 westbound ramp to Upper Middle Road at around 8 a.m. Ontario Provincial Police Sergeant Kerry Smith said 8 vehicles were involved. Images from the scene showed a vacuum truck smashed into another vehicle in a ditch to the side of the road, as well as multiple damaged vehicles around the school bus on the road. One of those injured was taken to a trauma center, Smith said. There was no children on board the bus at the time of the collision, he said. It is not yet clear what exactly caused the collision. He noted the crash occurred on the first day back to work and school for many people after the Christmas break. Schmidt said the ramp is expected to remain closed for most of the morning as police investigate. Ontario Provincial Police are investigating the death of a toddler in Gravenhurst. Police say that the officers with the Bracebridge OPP detachment, along with paramedics, responded to a call for a 2-year-old child with significant injuries at around 7:45 p.m. on January 5th. The child was taken to a local hospital and later transported to another hospital in Toronto. However, police say that they ultimately succumbed to their injuries on January 7th. A cause of death has not been provided. The police investigation is being led by the OPP's Muskoka Crime Unit in conjunction with the Office of the Chief Coroner for Ontario. Toronto's Police Board has unanimously approved a nearly $50 million increase to the force's budget, despite outcry from critics who said the money would be better invested in underfunded community services. The vote paves the way for the addition of 200 officers, as well as programming aimed at addressing youth violence following recent incidents Toronto Mayor John Tory has called troubling. Healthcare workers, lawyers, and community organizers argued that boosting the police force was a flawed and ineffective way to prevent crime that disproportionately targets Black, Indigenous, and racialized people in the city. The budget requires approval by City Council at a meeting next month, though Tory can veto council changes, a veto that can only be overridden by a 2/3 majority of city councillors. The budget increases comes after the city saw several violent incidents, some fatal in or near high schools, as well as on public transit last year. A man has sustained life-altering injuries following a head-on collision involving a cube van and streetcar in the downtown core, says Toronto Police. The crash happened Monday sometime after 1 a.m. near Queen and Bond Streets, just west of Church Street. According to Toronto Police, the streetcar was traveling westbound when its driver collided with an adult male who was driving their vehicle in an eastbound direction. The driver of the van, identified by police as an adult male, had to be extricated. He was taken to trauma center with serious but not life-threatening injuries. Police described his injuries as life-altering. An adult passenger in the cube van also sustained minor injuries. The driver of the streetcar was uninjured. All eastbound and westbound lanes of Queen Street East were closed but have since reopened. Traffic Services is investigating. The TTC Board approved a 10% fare hike Monday as part of its budget as members of the public voiced concern about accessibility, safety, and proposed service cuts that could lead to longer wait times. The $2.38 billion TTC budget released last week includes millions of dollars to hire new special constables to bolster safety, as well as money for service improvements on some routes serving neighborhood improvement areas. But it also includes a 10-cent fare hike for single cash and Presto rides, as well as changes that could increase maximum wait time reduce some service, and increase crowding standards. Speaking at a special meeting at the TTC board Monday, a number of deputants raised concerns about the budget. Shalak Pizzi Allen, Executive Director of Transit Users Advocacy Group TTC Riders, said that while the budget includes a provision to make fare passes cheaper for some of the poorest transit users through an expansion of the Fare Pass program, it does so by raising the cost of a ride for everyone else, including many people who are below the poverty line. She argued that the Fare Pass program should be funded through other revenue tools such as property taxes or parking levies at malls. She said the extra revenue that will be raised by a fare increase is a drop in the bucket compared to the hundreds of millions of dollars in the TTC deficit. The TTC has also been grappling recently with a rash of violent incidents on its property and continues to struggle with the cost impacts of COVID-19 pandemic. Ridership plummeted during the pandemic also along with revenues, and TTC staff said that it is taking much longer than expected to see a return to normal ridership levels. Still, Mayor John Tory praised the TTC's latest budget and said it will address the key concerns on the system. Unlike transit systems in many large cities in other parts of the world, the TTC receives most of its operating funds through revenues rather than higher levels of government. The city continues to rely on year-to-year commitments from the federal and provincial governments to make up the massive revenue shortfalls brought on by the pandemic, with no guarantees as to how long they will continue.
This was all from us today. I'm Kubra Ali, and I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.